Right. Good morning to Sir Safwan and also my fellow friends. All right. Today we are going to do the case study about Beery and Co. and also Rossi and Co. All right. So I'm going to do the first question, which is explain the factors Rossi and Co. should be considered when placing the reliance on the work of independent auditor. So Rossi and Co. is the auditing company, and also Beery and Co. is the audited company. I mean, the company we're going to audit lah. Okay. So the first factor that we need to consider is that whether the independent external valuer should be qualified and also have the capabilities of valuing the property. Alright. So the capability in this case means that the independent external valuer must have the knowledge and also the skills to evaluate the land and properties of Beery and Co. Right. So why we need to check whether they have the knowledge and skills, because the auditor, as an auditor, I has lack of knowledge on valuing the building alone. All right, so that's why we need to seek assistance of the external auditor, right? So the second point is that the independent valuer must be independent and also free from bias. Let's say if he is not independent and also biased on other parties, all right? So the other parties, the third party will be benefited on doing the job, right? So let's say the account department, all right? This independent valuer has the account department to cover any misstatements or errors in the financial statements. So this independent valuer is helping the accounting department to cover the financial statements errors, all right? So this should not happen. Okay, so we need to check on that as well, whether he's independent and free from bias or not. All right. So the third point is that as an auditor, we must make sure that the external independent auditor must follow the relevant accounting standards. All right, this to ensure that whether the auditor and also the independent valuer follows the accounting standards in order to avoid any problems in future. All right. Let's say if we didn't follow any standards, any accounting standards, the relevant standards, all right, we might have a big problem for the company, for my company, the auditing company, and also the company we're auditing, all right. So this standard will give, if we follow, the standard also says how to evaluate the land and building, and also to avoid misstatements, or like to avoid any errors of doing our job. All right, so the standards will help us on that way. Okay, lastly, the independent valuer must not make any errors on evaluating the properties of Beery and Co. In this sense, the valuer must give an accurate and complete detail of the information that he has done, okay, about his job. Right, this is because that the valuer, if any mistakes the valuer made, it will affect our decision, the auditor's final decision. All right, it will affect that, and then we will have a problem in the future. So that's one of the factors lah. Right, so that's all from me. Let's move on to the next question.
Good morning, I am Alia Shazana. I would like to explain to all of you on my part, which is question number 2. Describe the substantive procedure that the auditor should performs in order for them to get sufficient and appropriate audit evidence in relation to the first one, the regulations of the land and building, and the second one is the recently purchased warehouse. Okay, so for these questions, the first thing that we should know is what is substantive procedure. Okay, actually substantive procedure is one of way that performs by the auditor for them to get sufficient evidence and appropriate evidence before they express their own opinion towards the audited financial statement. Okay, so the opinion will be expressed in the auditor report at the end of the audit process. So substantive procedure. In planning substantive procedure, the auditor will refer to the assertions of the company itself. So auditor needs to understand well how the company progress and how the operation of the business for them to know the assertions that related to the company. So, in substantive procedures, there are two parts, which is the first one is test of details and the second is analytical procedure. For the test of details, it normally refers to the matter on transactions, account balance, and also how well the company disclose the financial data of their company in the financial statement. While the analytical procedure, it covers for both financial and non-financial data and information. And normally, in this stage, analytical procedure is performed by comparing the company prior data and the company current data. Okay, next, this is the substantive procedure that should be performed by the auditor. The first step is the auditor needs to read the financial statement of the company to gain understanding on the item. This is because every asset should have their own historical cost, and the cost will be depreciated according to the method applied by the company for every current financial reporting. Okay, so the auditor need to make sure the company have disclosed the method applied by the company properly in the financial statement, and also the auditor needs to check the classifications of the asset made by the company in the financial statement. For the building and the warehouse, it should be in the category of the non-current asset of the company. Okay, next is the auditor needs to examine the relevant document and account. For the building, the company require other workforce to revalue the building because of limitation of skill and knowledge. So, the auditor should be get assist by the other works in order for them to get further evidence, relevant evidence and document. This is because it is significant for them to prove the value is correct and accurate. Okay, so after getting the evidence, the auditor cannot simply rely on the evidence because the auditor needs to make further investigation and observation to make sure it is really correct and accurate. Okay, so for the warehouse, it is purchased and made, and the relevant document is invoice. The auditor needs to check the invoice whether it is matched with the value matched with the value that provided by the company. Okay, next, the auditor need to check the existence and occurrence of the asset by visiting the locations of the asset place and make sure the building and warehouse exist. This is very significant because it can be material if the building and warehouse is actually not exist, because the main operations of the company is from the building and warehouse, so that they can proceed with other transactions. And the last thing is the auditor needs to perform analytical procedure towards the asset. Just like what I mentioned previously, analytical procedure is making comparison from current data between the current data and the prior data. So the auditor needs to making comparison between the current data of the Virey.co and the prior financial information. Okay, and the auditor also needs to make comparison between the current data and the expected result or the budgeted result. So from this comparison, the auditor can analyze whether there is drastic changes or different towards the financial information. If there is drastic difference or changes, they might be misstatement in the financial statement. Next question, our group is required to discuss on the substantive procedure that should be performed by the auditor in valuation of work in progress.
There are 4 basic elements necessary to prepare a work in progress schedule: the transaction price, the cost incurred to date, the estimate cost to complete, and the billing to date. For the estimate cost, before attending the inventory count, we should discuss with management about how the percentage of completion is assigned to the work in progress. For example, is based on cars that pass certain point in the production process. In fact, the value of the car is not the same at the beginning of the production that at the end. During the enumeration, we should observe the procedure performed by Vierico staff to assess the level of work in progress and to consider the reasonableness of the assumption used. We should agree, for example, that the percentage of completion evaluated during the enumeration is in accordance with the one that Vierico policies communicate before the enumeration. Then we should make a work in progress calendar and be agreed on a sample of work in progress evaluated during the counting in the work in progress calendar. Agree that the percentage of completion is correct and recalculate the valuation of stocks.
For the last part of our group assignment is we need to explain on the step Rosie and Co, which is who is the auditor, should now take an impact on the auditor's report in relation to the director refusal to amend the financial statement. Okay, so the next step that the auditor should do is, after reviewing and getting all the audit evidence from the management, the auditor needs to express their opinion towards the financial statement through the auditor's report. So there is two type of auditor's report, which is the first one is qualified and the second one is unqualified. So the good one is unqualified. Okay, this is because the management did not have to adjust their financial statement because the financial statement is already free from material misstatement. But the qualified one, the auditor needs to advise the management to adjust their financial statement because the financial statement contain misstatement. Okay, so for the adverse, it is divided into two parts, which is the first one is adverse opinion or adverse report and the second one is disclaimer on opinion. So adverse opinion happen when there is disagreement between the management, and disclaimer is happen due to the limitation of the auditor. Okay, so for the situation, the refusal of director to give the proper and sufficient evidence will give impacts to the audit report, which is qualified report will be expressed in terms of adverse opinion. This is because it is due to disagreement with management. The auditor did not satisfied with the audit evidence that they gain because it is not sufficient and not appropriate for them to draw a conclusions and to claim the financial statement free from material misstatement. So that's all from our group. Thank you.